What's going on? First video is going to be about the Chicago Bulls Last Stands Part 5 and 6. What did we learn last night? Well, as you know from last week and so on, what's been a theme actually for the first six in some part in fashion. Isaiah Thomas and Detroit Pistons have played a role. And it's, I'm going to go to the cut to my own personal opinion. Yeah, Michael Jordan had everything to do with Isaiah Thomas not being on that dream team he should have been. And it's unfortunate, but it should have been. As great a player as Michael Jordan was, he's one of the greatest. Not the greatest to me, but one of them. I will say this about him. I will say this. He's the most important endorsement African American in terms of the money he's generated. I've said before and others that O.J. Simpson was the godfather of the black crossover athlete. And then you've had Sugar Ray Leonard, and you had Michael Jordan, and of course with Tiger Woods and Kobe and Shaq and so on, LeBron, Dwayne Wade. I can name names, but Michael Jordan, as far as the economical aspect, no other athlete is seeing that. That's one thing I will say without a doubt. I have no doubts about, for endorsement goals. The brand, the Jumpman logo alone, but that's all tied into the Be Like Mike and everything with that, and how everybody came out to see him. One thing they didn't show last night, he was in the Michael Jackson's Jam video, which was a pretty big thing back '92. So that was with that video right before that finals, and of course what he said about Clyde Drexler, and he was competitive as all get out. He didn't want anyone being compared to him. But then again, I said it about any great player. There's not another one of them, because every player that is great, I have not seen another version of them. So when they say this, they isolate, but they, again, Kobe Bryant said that he leaned on him for much advice and got a lot to get through. And Kobe's situation was very unique because, again, he was playing with Shaquille O'Neal during his peak in his prime, and he had Phil Jackson. He had a lot to cipher. Plus, he was trying to create his own identity and his own brand, etc. So it was very compelling to see that. They touched on the Portland series, and of course, they touched on the Phoenix series when him and Charles Barkley were boys, and how that was a crazy finals. I remember that thing just like yesterday. And I tell you, it was crazy. Barkley, they showed the Dream Team. I thought Charles Barkley was the best player on the Dream Team, but the way he played and his undersized, but his physicality and his mobility and agility was something else, which hasn't been, like I said, that version of Charles Barkley, the Dream Team, you got some of that in the NBA. Barkley is one of those guys that, had he had Karl Malone's work ethic and Tim Duncan's focus, he'd be a top 10 all time. But he's still one of the 20 to 25, 30 best players that I've seen in my lifetime. But he's been way up there, because that's the only thing. Because, skill-wise, Barkley was a beast, and he could ball. They brought up the Knicks. The Knicks, to me, were like a low-budget version of the Pistons. Patrick Ewing was tough, but I wasn't blown away. And John Starks showed me more heart at the guard spot, but it wasn't the same. Pat Riley employed different things and looks, but it wasn't the same. What Chuck Daly had with Detroit, with Isaiah Thomas and Joe Dumars and Rodman and those guys, it wasn't the same. And the Bulls knew how to take a lump from that. It wasn't the same. Plus, the Knicks didn't have scoring options the way Isaiah could dictate and Joe Dumars could. Again, they're the two of the most underrated backcourts ever. They don't get enough due. Them cats could handle it. And them Vinny the Microwave Johnson and all that. And of course, when Adrian Danley was there before, there was, I could go on with a lot of different players that played in Detroit, and Mark Aguirre later came and all that. But anyway, then we touch about the gambling, which has been a known fact of him by Michael Jordan. He gambled anything. And yeah, he had addiction to it. And I still think he got suspended. I'm not buying that baseball career. Let's be real. The cat could barely bat his body weight. I never bought that. And unfortunately, the sad tragedy was happened with his father, which they probably will document, go on. There's a lot going on with the whole thing. Then, of course, politics, what he said about Republicans buy shoes too, and he didn't step to Jesse Helms. They didn't touch about the Craig Hodges thing. The Craig Hodges thing, who didn't go to the White House in '92. Jordan didn't go the first year, but Craig Hodges got whiteballed by the NBA. He didn't even get to compete for the 3-point shooter against Mark Price. And Craig Hodges, they ran him out the league. I remember that. But Craig Hodges wasn't losing no sleep, but he was a brother that spoke his mind. And, and again, there's a lot of stuff that they're not going to touch on. But anyway, it's got a lot bit of everything. It's humbling, and it takes you to another time, another place. And like I said, I remember all that stuff, and then some stuff that they're not going to touch on. And it'll be next week will be episode 6 and 7. So it makes for compelling TV with the lack of anything else sports related, but it's enough. But anyway, give me your thoughts and takes about Chicago Bulls Last Dance Part 5 and 6. What you like, what you didn't. Hit the like and subscribe and the bell rings a new video. Wash your hands, keep your mind clear, watch out for one another. And there's always more to see than what you see. I'm out. Peace.